Let's count down 15 obscure country bands that should have been famous. These weren't just songs, they were dirt road ballads, jukebox confessions, and back porch hymns to a changing world. And the final track, it was too real for Nashville and too raw to be forgotten.
Down in the boondocks, down in the boondocks.
Around South Louisiana, they said Amos was a hell of a man. He could trap the biggest, the meanest alligator.
Number 15, Lodi, by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Just about a year ago, I set out on...
You already know the chords before the first word drops. Lodi wasn't just a place, it was a feeling. CCR might not have been a country band by definition, but this 1970 deep cut hit closer to the genre's aching soul than most Nashville hits that year. John Fogerty's voice drips with weary resignation, trapped in a small town, chasing a dream that's evaporating with every bar gig.
You may start too fast. Well, I don't know if in person. Relax a little more.
This was working class poetry, wrapped in a steel string rhythm, and it gave every barstool drifter a soundtrack. If you've ever packed a guitar and gone nowhere, Lodi still plays in your bones. But what comes next? A song that soaked into the Alabama red clay and never washed out. Number 14, Seven Bridges Road by Steve Young.
So I wrote this song called Seven Bridges Road.
Before the Eagles polished it into harmony heaven, Steve Young's original version was a ghost hymn drifting through the southern pines. Released in 1970, this wasn't just country, it was cosmic. With Appalachian folk roots and California breeze, Young's voice cracked with longing and legend.
Down the Seven Bridges Road.
He painted Alabama nights with haunting chords and open road yearning. The kind of track you only discover once, but never forget. It wasn't radio made, it was soul made. And that made all the difference. Up next, a swamp country outlaw who turned funk into folklore. Number 13, Amos Moses by Jerry Reed.
It's a song about a dude who's kind of funky. Come down around Thibodaux, Louisiana.
If you've ever two-stepped barefoot or laughed at a fishing story that turned myth, you've already felt Amos Moses. Jerry Reed didn't just play guitar, he attacked it. And in 1970, he birthed a backwoods funk country fusion that defied Nashville's tidy boxes. Amos Moses was a one-armed gator hunter raised by rebels, and somehow you rooted for him.
Around South Louisiana, they said Amos was a hell of a man. He could trap the biggest, the meanest alligator.
This was country music as cartoon legend, and it cracked the top 10 doing it. Reed was too wild, too funky, and too brilliant to be boxed in, and Amos Moses proved it, and inspired a generation of misfits and dreamers. But next, we bring it back to the soft glow of a love song, written like a poem. And I'll write you a poem if you hit the subscribe button right now. Number 12, The Night Miss Nancy Ann's Hotel for Single Girls Burned Down by Tex Williams.
The night Miss Nancy Ann's Hotel for Single Girls burned down.
With a title like that, you'd think it was all gimmick. But Tex Williams delivered more than novelty. This 1970 gem is part satirical romp, part small-town scandal, and entirely unforgettable. Williams' deep, sly baritone told a story drenched in irony and innuendo, while the band swung like a Western jazz combo. It's a track that made you grin while raising eyebrows.
The night Miss Nancy Ann's Hotel for Single Girls burned down.
exposing the hypocrisy of polite society with a wink and a fiddle. It didn't top charts, but it topped stories you told your friends after hearing it once. Coming up next, a truck stop anthem from a baritone who wore heartbreak like denim. Number 11, Big Wheels Sing for Me by Dick Kurles.
We've seen a million miles and a lot of cute, pretty little come-on smiles, but tonight we're headed for Nashville, Tennessee.
That voice, low, rough, and full of road dust. Dick Kurles didn't just sing about highways, he lived them. Big Wheels Sing for Me dropped in 1970 and brought the sound of 18-wheel loneliness to your dashboard. With pedal steel harmonies and heartbreak humming under the hood, it turned trucker life into poetry. Kurles was never the flashiest, but his gravel-rich vocals carried truth in every syllable. If you've ever watched taillights vanish in your rearview mirror, this one hits hard. Next, a renegade cover that became a cult classic love letter to Southern heartbreak. Number 10, Why You Been Gone So Long by Johnny Daryl.
Tell me, baby, why you been gone so long? You been gone so long now.
You can almost smell the bourbon and see the dust rising off the front porch when this track kicks in. Johnny Daryl's 1970 take on Why You Been Gone So Long burned with raw ache and outlaw charm. Daryl wasn't as polished as the country elite, and that's exactly what made him unforgettable. His voice was scratched with experience, and he wielded it like a rusted blade cutting through country cliches. This wasn't music rope, it was backwoods soul, straight from the gut.
Be scratching at my door and I can hear that lonesome wind hum.
But next, a novelty hit that accidentally became a sonic lightning strike across genres. Number 9, Mule Skinner Blues by the Fenderman.
Good morning, Captain. Well, good morning to you.
It shouldn't have worked, but somehow it slapped. The Fenderman's revved-up version of Mule Skinner Blues sounded like two rockabilly rebels hijacking a bluegrass time machine. Released just before the 70s turned the page, its strange surf twang and hillbilly yelps echoed into the new decade with wild charm. This wasn't mainstream. It was a joyride through tradition, flipped on its head. With just two guys, a guitar, and a whole lot of attitude, the Fenderman brought barnyard chaos to the edge of country radio.
On your new mud run.
Up next, a tear-soaked duet that still echoes through every dusty dive bar jukebox. Number 8, Don't Let Me Cross Over by Carl and Pearl Butler.
Carl and Pearl Butler, a big hit record of Don't Let Me Cross Over.
If you've ever stood on the edge of temptation, Carl and Pearl Butler gave that moment a melody. Originally hitting in the 60s, their version still resonated deep into 1970, carried by whispered harmonies and gospel-infused pain. This wasn't just country, it was country confession. Their voices, gravel and honey, wrapped around each other like prayers, and every steel guitar cry felt like a warning.
Don't let me cross over.
They never chased the spotlight, but their shadows still linger. Next, a twangy toe tapper from a man who should have been a household name. Number 7, Georgia Keeps Pulling on My Ring by Little David Wilkins.
Wrote a big hit song, and you cut the original record of it, and then I think Conway Twitty.
Yeah, I wrote Georgia Keeps Pulling on My Ring, and Owen Bradley was my producer too at MCA. And
it starts smooth, then stings, Little David Wilkins brought a piano bar vibe to country heartbreak, and Georgia Keeps Pulling on My Ring is his finest moment. Released in the early 70s, it tells the story of a man torn between two worlds.
Sweet, sweet Georgia keeps pulling on my ring.
A woman and a memory, a ring and a song. Wilkins sang like he meant it, with a smoky rasp and a smile you could hear. The track got covered by bigger names, but his version bleeds the most. But what's coming next? A Southern soul who blurred country and pop before it was cool. Number 6, Down in the Boondocks by Billy Joe Royal.
Down in the boondocks, down in the boondocks.
You already know the feeling, being on the wrong side of the tracks, watching the lights from a house you're not welcome in. Billy Joe Royal didn't just sing that story, he lived it through every word of Down in the Boondocks. Released just before 1970, but still spinning in the early decades rural jukeboxes, this track blurred the line between pop and country heartbreak. Royal's smooth tenor felt like silk over steel strings, capturing the aches of small-town class divides with a grace few others dared. This wasn't just a song, it was a country Romeo and Juliet. Coming up, a hard-driving anthem from a band that crashed genres like a freight train. Number 5, Hello L.A., Bye Bye Birmingham by Blue Cheer. Wait, Blue Cheer? Yes, that Blue Cheer. Better known for their heavy psychedelic sound, in 1970 they dabbled in country rock with this southern fried goodbye letter. Hello L.A., Bye Bye Birmingham was pure twang swagger, full of slide guitars, wandering hearts, and open highways. It was a departure and a revelation. The band proved that even the loudest voices could still whisper in country code. It didn't chart, but it carved its initials into the genre's wooden porch. Next, a song that drifted out of a bluegrass jam circle and into underground legend. Number 4, Barroom Girls by the Country Gazette. This one barely got airplay, but ask any serious picker and they'll nod with reverence. Barroom Girls was the quiet storm from the Country Gazette, a band steeped in bluegrass but unafraid to hurt. It's the kind of song that doesn't just get sung, it gets lived. Their harmonies ache, the fiddle weeps, and the lyrics walk the tightrope between loneliness and longing. Now, this wasn't stadium country, it was barstool gospel, and it still matters. Next up, two brothers whose harmonies could stop a fight in its tracks. Number 3, You're Not Easy to Forget by the Godden Brothers.
All the honky-tonks and taverns.
Long before Vern Godden became known as The Voice, he and his brother Rex crafted heartbreak in stereo. You're Not Easy to Forget is soaked in melancholy, a slow burning waltz wrapped in close harmonies and quiet devastation. The Godden Brothers never got the mainstream glory, but they laid the emotional blueprint for country's coming heartbreak kings. This 1970 track whispers through the years, carried on late-night radio signals and dusty record grooves. It's not flashy, it's flawless. Up next, a diesel-powered road hymn from the patron saint of asphalt country. Number 2, Truck Driving Man by Red Simpson.
one of the very great songwriters and singers and song stylists, my old friend Red Simpson.
This is the sound of engine brakes, diner coffee, and loneliness in low gear. Red Simpson's truck-driving man rolled through America's heartland like a CB prayer. He didn't just write trucker country. He invented its heart and soul, just as the 70s revved up. This track drove straight into the blue-collar psyche. It's not just a song. It's a lifestyle anthem for every long hauler chasing the sunrise.
In the jukebox, and I'll play that truck driving man.
And finally, a Cajun masterpiece that Nashville never saw coming. Number 1, Louisiana Man by Doug Kershaw and Rusty Kershaw.
With Doug Kershaw's famous Louisiana Man.
This one should have made them legends. Louisiana Man is everything country music could be. Joyful, rooted, wild, and unmistakably alive. Doug and Rusty Kershaw fused Cajun fiddle fire with deep Southern storytelling, creating a track that danced and cried in the same breath. It was too regional for the suits in Nashville, but it resonated with anyone who knew the sound of bayou water and broken dreams. They didn't chase radio, they chased feeling. And Louisiana Man, it still hits like a lightning bolt in a rainstorm.
Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man.
If you found this deep dive memorable, hit like and subscribe so we can keep the music alive. These weren't just tracks. They were sonic postcards from 1970, sent by voices we didn't hear loud enough. Which of these songs hit you the hardest or surprised you the most? Next up, we're diving into 1974, where the ghosts of glam and folk clashed on every stage. You won't believe what made the list. Click the video on screen now to keep this journey going. Some legends fade, others hide in plain sight.